In the heart of an ancient empire, a mother's desperate prayer drifts over the waters of the Nile, a cry for deliverance, a whisper of hope placed within a basket of reeds. This is where our story begins, not with a king or a conqueror, but with a baby born into slavery, destined for greatness. His name was Moses. Found by the daughter of Pharaoh herself, he was raised not as a Hebrew slave, but as a prince of Egypt. Surrounded by the unimaginable wealth and splendor of the palace, he learned the ways of the court, dressed in the finest linens, and was educated alongside the future rulers of the land. Yet, within the heart of this Egyptian prince, a different identity stirred. He saw the suffering of his people, the Hebrews, toiling under the brutal Egyptian sun, their backs bent under the weight of oppression. One fateful day, his simmering outrage boiled over. Witnessing an Egyptian guard mercilessly beating a Hebrew slave, a fire ignited within him. In a moment of righteous fury, he struck the guard down. The act, born of a fierce sense of justice, forced him into exile. The prince of Egypt became a fugitive, trading his royal robes for the humble garments of a shepherd in the vast, unforgiving wilderness of Midian. For 40 years, the desert was his home, the stars his roof, the bleating of sheep his only company. He learned humility, patience, and the rhythms of a life far from the gilded cages of power. It was here, in the solitude of Mount Horeb, that his true destiny would be revealed. A sight that defied all reason, a bush, engulfed in flames, yet not consumed. From the heart of the fire, a voice boomed, a voice that was ancient and all-powerful. It was the voice of God. He called to Moses by name, commanding him to return to the land he had fled. His mission, to confront the most powerful man on earth, the Pharaoh, and deliver a simple, yet world-shattering message: "Let my people go." With his brother Aaron by his side, Moses stood before the mighty Pharaoh. The court, once his home, was now a hostile stage. He relayed God's command, but Pharaoh's heart was hardened. He laughed at the audacity of this former prince, this shepherd who dared to challenge the gods of Egypt, and so began a divine contest of wills. One by one, the 10 plagues descended upon the land of Egypt, a series of terrifying and awe-inspiring demonstrations of God's power. The sacred Nile turned to blood, swarms of frogs and gnats covered the land, livestock perished, and boils afflicted the Egyptians. Hail of fire rained from the sky, locusts devoured every green thing, and a thick, suffocating darkness blanketed the empire for 3 days. With each plague, Pharaoh's defiance grew, his pride a fortress against reason. Until the final, most heartbreaking plague, the firstborn of every Egyptian household was taken, from the palace to the dungeon. The cry of grief that rose from Egypt that night was a sound that would echo through history. A shattered Pharaoh finally relented. "Go," he commanded, and in the dead of night, an entire nation, the Israelites, walked out of 400 years of bondage. But their freedom was short-lived. Regretting his decision, Pharaoh marshaled his army, the might of Egypt's chariots thundering in pursuit of the fleeing slaves. Trapped between the charging army and the impassable waters of the Red Sea, the Israelites cried out in terror. Their journey to freedom seemed destined to end in slaughter. But Moses, his faith unwavering, stood before the churning sea. He raised his staff, as God had commanded. What happened next is a miracle that has inspired billions for millennia. A mighty wind began to blow, and the waters of the Red Sea split apart, rising like liquid walls on either side, revealing a path of dry land. The Israelites walked through the heart of the sea, the walls of water a testament to the impossible made possible. As the last Israelite reached the other side, the Egyptian army charged into the seabed in pursuit. Moses raised his staff once more. The watery walls collapsed, and the Red Sea crashed down upon Pharaoh's chariots and his army. The might of Egypt was consumed by the very sea that had parted for the slaves. Freedom had been won. Their journey then led them to the foot of a formidable, smoke-covered peak, Mount Sinai. Here, amidst thunder, lightning, and the sound of a great trumpet, God descended upon the mountain. Moses ascended into the divine cloud to meet with the Creator. For 40 days and 40 nights, he remained on the holy mountain. When he returned, he carried 2 tablets of stone, inscribed by the very finger of God. These were the 10 Commandments, a moral and spiritual covenant, a guide for a just and righteous life, the foundation for a new nation forged in faith. This was not the end of their journey, but a new beginning. For the next 40 years, Moses led the Israelites through the vast and winding desert. It was a period of testing, of learning, of transformation. They grumbled, they rebelled, they forged a golden calf, but through it all, Moses was their steadfast leader, their intercessor, their guide. He taught them God's laws, judged their disputes, and led them day by day with a pillar of cloud, and by night with a pillar of fire. He was a prophet, a lawgiver, a general, and a shepherd to his people. He never set foot in the promised land himself. He viewed it from a distant mountain before his death. But his mission was complete. He had led a nation of slaves out of bondage, and molded them into a people of God, armed with a law of liberty and a promise of a future. The story of Moses is more than just an ancient tale. It is a timeless epic of freedom against tyranny, of faith against despair, and of the profound truth that even the most humble among us can be called to achieve the extraordinary. It is a testament to the enduring power of hope and the belief that, no matter how dark the night, deliverance will come.